Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. We are back with another video. Today we're looking at Bittensor TAO, and can TAO hit $10,000 by the peak of this bull cycle? As always, if you enjoy the content, please give the thumbs up on the video below. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin linked below this video. Go ahead, grab it now, and let's talk about TAO. So again, we've been covering TAO for a while on the channel here. We can see we're currently all the way down at $220 per token. So this idea of getting all the way to $10,000 by the peak of the cycle per token definitely seems quite outlandish, but we're going to break it down and make a case for how I think that could be possible if the stars align. Yes, it would be extremely unlikely, but if we see the narrative of artificial intelligence continue to permeate not just throughout the crypto verse, but also throughout the business cycle. We've got Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Meta, Tesla, all of the biggest companies in the world, the Mag 7, all fighting and essentially at war for the artificial intelligence revolution. And that is going to permeate into crypto, in my opinion, as we move through the rest of this business cycle. And I think the prices of assets that are essentially positioned to benefit from the type of price action that we can see on the back of healthy narrative performance for artificial intelligence, I think TAO is positioned very well for all of that. So let's break down what's been happening here. Of course, it's been a bit of a bumpy ride for TAO over the course of the past number of months. We could see prices getting all the way up to about $750 here, just shy of that $750 mark by the time we got to that first week in November. This run up here happening in the immediate aftermath of election confirmation in the United States from November 5th through to that date on 6th of December, an 80% run up in price for Bittensor TAO's token in a very short time period, 31 days, exactly 1 month for an 80% return. Now, that wasn't abnormal during that time period. We saw many altcoins running up dramatically in price and outperforming Bitcoin. However, since those December highs, we've obviously seen a pretty big drawdown in the price of Bittensor. Again, we saw Bitcoin getting up relatively high at the beginning of January as well. But since those beginning to middle of January highs for Bitcoin, it has bled out. And I'll just bring up the Bitcoin chart very quickly for a reference. We can see here at this point, by the 20th of January, we had that peak. Bitcoin has pulled back since then, and it has dragged most of the altcoin market with it. If we look at total crypto market cap, again, you can see this peak by the 20th of January and total crypto market cap moving back and correcting over the past couple of months. A lot of the speculation with the tariff situation not helping, but I think ultimately we might need to see rates getting cut in order for the US to roll over this $9 trillion worth of debt. So what is that meaning for TAO? Well, it means that we've had a pretty painful couple of months here, putting in a series of lower highs as we've moved down from these middle of December highs. We got a bit of a run up again here by the 5th of January, again spiking up here on the 29th of January, but eventually losing that 200-day simple moving average before putting in, more lower highs and moving to these lows where we're sitting here around $218 today. Again, this level, if we zoom out on the chart here, has held as pretty strong support going all the way back through middle of last year. Again, you can see clearly that we have that strong support level, and it's been going back until at least the middle of last year. And every time we've come down here, we have bounced and retested before moving back higher. So what I'm hoping for is that we can see TAO's token price holding above this level of support, continuing to accumulate. We might need some more accumulation here before we get a true bounce higher. So we might end up moving sideways here for a few weeks before we make a bigger move. And again, we've broken down other videos for Bitcoin and how Bitcoin does typically follow global M2. We saw Bitcoin following M2 all of last year with this 105-day delay, or about an 8 to 12 week delay. And so many of us are watching and speculating that by the end of April this year, i.e. in about 3 weeks from now, we could see Bitcoin chopping sideways a little bit. But typically speaking, Bitcoin follows global M2 with about an 83% degree of accuracy. And again, if we see this sideways chop for another couple of weeks before a bigger move to the upside, we know when Bitcoin makes those moves, the altcoins will follow in pretty hot pursuit. And Bittensor being one of them, we could see some very interesting moves for Bittensor by the time we get towards the end of April. Again, if we jump all the way back here, this initial move actually came off of the back of the first rate cut last year in 2024. If you remember, we go back to the FOMC meeting on the 18th of September 2024. Bittensor's token TAO was actually one of the tokens that was quickest to make moves to the upside here in the immediate aftermath of those initial rate cuts on September 18th. Again, you can see this run up in a 25-day period was a 136% gain in the price of TAO during that 25-day time period. And again, what I've been watching here over on the FedWatch tool for the CME group is the fact that we are seeing an increased likelihood of getting rate cuts by the time we get into May and June of this year. The stock market and equities pulling back over the past couple of weeks have seen these odds increasing for a rate cut here. We're looking like 33% chance of a rate cut by the time we get to the 7th of May meeting. Again, just about 3 to 4 weeks from today. This percentage here was up at 99% just 7 days ago. You can see with the action happening in equities over the past week, the likelihood has dropped that we're actually going to stay at the same rate and has increased that we're actually going to get a rate cut by the 7th of May. And then by the 18th of June, the vast majority and the likelihood being 64% that we are in fact going to have a rate cut by the time we get to the middle of June. So things are looking good, and Bittensor TAO token is a token that reacts very, very well to those rate cuts, like we saw this particular move here back after the 18th of September rate cut. So that is where we're positioning Bittensor TAO in the short term. But where can the price of Bittensor get to by the peak of the bull cycle? Well, in the last video that I broke down for a Bittensor price prediction, we looked at a bear case, base case, and bull case scenario. By the way, if you want me to update these numbers, drop a comment below this video. I want to know if there's appetite for me to run a new analysis and a new price prediction, because this is about it's probably about 2 to 3 months old at this point since I ran the numbers for Bittensor TAO. And again, in a bear case, what I broke down was total crypto market cap getting to 5 trillion, Bittensor getting to a $22 billion market cap, and the price per token getting to $21.42 US. Base case was looking more like a $7 trillion market cap, a $45 billion market cap for Bittensor itself, and a $4,300 price target for each Bittensor token. Finally, in the bull case, I was looking at 9 trillion, a $76 billion market cap, and a $7,200 price target per token for Bittensor TAO. Now, this is very, very bullish, but of course, if we see, growth and hype with more advancements with artificial intelligence over the course of 2025, 2026, and even into 2030 and moving over the course of the next 5 years, I think the growth and the adoption and the acceleration of artificial intelligence is only going to increase and permeate and become more ubiquitous, and projects and protocols like Bittensor, decentralized artificial intelligence at scale, are set to benefit from all of that growth in this market over the coming years. And for that reason, I wanted to think about what would it actually take for Bittensor to get to $10,000 per token. And in my opinion, it's actually not too outlandish that we could get to that price target. What would it mean in terms of total crypto market cap? Well, it would mean getting up to 10 trillion US dollars. If I go back here to total crypto market cap and look at it on the chart here just for a minute, let's zoom out to the weekly. What we've normally seen throughout these past couple of cycles is pretty significant returns from cycle peak to cycle peak. So cycle peak 2017 to cycle peak 2021, that was about a 300% increase in total crypto market cap. If we were to do that same type of move for a 300% increase in total crypto market cap from cycle peak 2021 to cycle peak, let's call it 2025, end of 2025 or early 2026, if we got another 300% increase in total crypto market cap, that would actually put us up at a $12 trillion overall market cap for crypto. Now, that would be very, very ambitious in my opinion, but even if we only get, let's call it a 230% increase, that puts us at a $10 trillion market cap when in the previous cycle we had an increase of over 300%. So in my opinion, it's definitely not easy for us to get there, but it's certainly not off the cards because of the fact that we've done it in previous cycles. Again, you can argue there could be diminishing returns. You can make all different arguments on both sides of the equation, but for all intents and purposes, it's definitely not off the cards that we get to a $10 trillion market cap. And then if Bittensor TAO can get to a 1.05% dominance, again, which is not outlandish, if we have acceleration with artificial intelligence and this narrative continues to dominate the business cycle when all of the Mag 7 and all of the biggest companies in the world are fighting for artificial intelligence, this percentage dominance is not off the cards, and that would give us a $10,000 per token price for Bittensor TAO. So it's not off the table, and it's very possible. I think it'll be very interesting to look back 12 to 15 months from now, look at these numbers, and look at the fact that Bittensor is currently priced at $218 per token. And we're looking at the potential of a Bittensor price going to $10,000 per token in the next 12 to 15 months. Again, this is not financial advice, guys. This is just my opinion. I'm breaking down the scenarios and telling you what it would take for Bittensor to actually get to those prices. Of course, it would be extremely difficult. Of course, you'd have to see the stars aligning with the AI revolution and the entire narrative in the crypto space. But just if, and it's a big if those stars do align, if Bittensor can outperform the rest of the crypto AI tokens, and if it can gain market share dominance in the crypto space as an AI leader, I think it's definitely possible, but not the most likely. So let's see what happens. Again, I do think the bear case, base case, and bull case are reasonable targets to keep in mind for you if you're accumulating Bittensor. Let me know below if you're holding this token for this particular cycle. I'm interested to gather feedback. Again, as always, guys, if there's any comments or questions, drop them below the video. Make sure to drop the video a thumbs up on your way out the door. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon as well. If you got any value at all, share it with a friend, hit that thumbs up button. And again, you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin waiting for you in the description. Grab it down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.